Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with another one of Dave's Faves. Now, as you know, I don't do obituaries generally, but I did want to do this for a long time, and since Ned Rorem passed away recently, the great American composer, well into his 90s, I figured here's an opportunity to talk about one of my favorite orchestral discs, one of the first I ever heard of his music. I mean, he was known for his songs during his lifetime, for the most part. His major orchestral works got much less attention because he did not write in that serial style. Rorem was his own guy from the very beginning. He was an out gay man from the very beginning at a time when that just wasn't done, number one. And number two, he was just as well known as a diarist for the Nantucket Diary, particularly, where he wrote some very salacious stuff about other people in the classical music world, and they're full of wonderful, witty observations about his life and the musical universe. He was a French guy. His love was French music and all things French. And that was, how he based his style. So he was not Germanic. He was not a serialist. He was an out gay man. He was not lined up for popularity in the 60s and 70s. He really wasn't, which was a terrible shame because he was a brilliant composer. And of course, his individuality and originality, those were his calling cards. That's why he matters to us now, or should matter to us now. So when this disc came out on New World Records, which was in what year was it? 1988. It was something of an event musically. Not that anyone celebrated or mentioned it, but in terms of his recognition, because he'd been there all along writing wonderful music that nobody was paying much attention to. Now, we have on this disc his String Symphony, which is a lovely work. And like most of his symphonic works, he wasn't interested in things like sonata form. He didn't care. Most of his works, whether he called them symphony or concerto, are suites. They're a selection of movements. And this work has a waltz, delightful waltz. It takes a while to get going. It's sort of cool the way the waltz kind of emerges from these swirling opening textures. It's just, he was so wonderfully attuned to that sort of thing. He had a great ear, Some composers don't. Some have 10 ears. Rorem didn't. So you've got a waltz, then a berceuse, a scherzo, tiny little scherzo, a gorgeous, gorgeous nocturne, that's the heart of the work, and a concluding rondo. So yeah, he did do a little bit with classical forms. There you go. But in his own way. And it's conducted by Robert Shaw with the Atlanta Symphony, and it's a beautiful performance. The rest of the program is Louis Lane in the Atlanta Symphony. You have his suite Sunday Morning, which is just wonderful, wonderful series of short little vignettes. Speaking of French, Rorem reminds me a lot of Poulenc in that, he could be as saucy and insouciant as anything going, but always with sudden jets of real passionate feeling. Those wonderful moments when the music all of a sudden stops and you realize that behind some of the wit and some of the facade of sort of casual popularity, there's a real heart beating. And a pained heart beating sometimes. And you hear that in Sunday Morning. The movements are green freedom, passions of rain, indifferent blue, birds before they fly. Death is the mother of beauty. Fortunately, it's only 1 minute and 36 seconds long. Our insipid lutes, a ring of men, and to darkness on extended wings. Yeah, sounds yummy, doesn't it? And then another orchestral work called Eagles. And you can only imagine what that's going to do, and it does it. So there you go. 3 absolutely lovely, lovely orchestral works that deserve to be performed and savored and enjoyed, and they're wonderfully played and wonderfully recorded on this New World disc. And it was really my introduction to the orchestral music of Ned Rorem. It took a long time getting there because there just wasn't much. There really wasn't. There were some people doing some songs and whatnot, as I said, but his larger works were not taken seriously and not played. And, now that he's gone, who knows what's going to happen? I really haven't a clue. But I recommend this disc heartily. It's been in my collection for like a billion years, and I always come across it and pull it out and put it on and go, oh yeah, this is really good stuff. This guy knew what he was about. He knew who he was. He knew how to write lovely, approachable, but not pandering music. And I can't ask for too much more than that, can we? History will do the rest. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.